Ricken Financial presents Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin with the Rickens.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening to Kickin with the Rickens podcast. We are here with retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost and licensed insurance professional Jerry Ricken. My name is Mark Owens. We invite you to get more at rickenfinancial.com. You can get all the information here in the show notes. Thanks again for subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. No Jerry this weekend. Heidi, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay. I'm a little sleep deprived, but all is well in our world, and the weather is beautiful. Can't complain.
Jerry, this weekend, is it like a boys' trip that he writes off as a work trip, but he still brings his bride with? What is he up to that he's always on some kind of adventure? What is he doing now?
You know, it's funny. I told him, take some pictures and videos and don't be afraid to share it because I get this question all the time. My dad's no spring chicken. People are always wondering, is he ever going to retire?
Right.
The too long didn't read version of that story is no, I don't actually think he ever will retire. I always joke that I'm just going to lock the doors and change the key one day on him, or who knows, maybe one day he'll just die doing what he loves, working here at Ricken Financial. But right. He's doing what we call kind of a hybrid retirement. He's getting to enjoy some of the time now while he can, because he's in our go-go years. You know, we have a couple different phases in retirement. The go-go years where you can go and you can do all the things. The slow-go years where you can still do it, but you might not have as much energy to do it. You may not want to keep doing it. And then the no-go years where you're in the horizontal club and you're not going until you leave the building.
Right.
Since he and mom are still go, 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 they both love what they do and they can do some of their work from afar. I encourage him, go take the vacations, go do the stuff. So he and mom right now, they've been spending some time in Put-in Bay, Ohio, which is a little island in Ohio where they are enjoying a little time with mom's company. And from what I understand, it's a drinking town. They've gone from establishment to establishment, hanging out with all these different people and seeing the latest and greatest promotional products. Dad actually is doing work while away as well. So, you know, I have to give him a little bit of credit. He's doing his hybrid retirement, but he's enjoying his time. And I guess that gets ahead of the story and answers the question that, no, I don't think he ever will retire.
Right.
Although he does have a retirement plan if that day does come.
Right. How hard is that? Since we're talking about that, the hybrid retirement, if you will, I think you've called it before here on Kickin with the Rickens, the test driving a retirement. How hard is that to build a plan that allows somebody to live that retirement life without being fully retired?
You know, I actually find some hybrid retirement plans to be pretty fun to plan because the first question we ask when we meet with anyone is, what do you want to do with your time in retirement? And if the answer is that you love working, you want to keep doing some form of what you're doing for a living, you want to do another job of some sort, I don't want to change that for you. I want to make sure that we plan out your retirement plan to include that hybrid retirement. But also if it's, I really love what I want to do, but I want to spend more time traveling, or I want to spend more time doing this, that, and the other, let's build that into your plan too. And maybe that means turning on some of your retirement income streams when you're still working so that you can do the things you want to do when you have that time in those go-go years. So, you know, it's pretty easy to plan that out, but I'll tell you, a plan is a plan. That doesn't mean it's set in stone and it can't change because it's a living and breathing document. And as life changes, as financial needs change, as the financial world and industry changes, the plan's going to change to accommodate that. So at any point in time, we can always update that plan. And it's not set in stone, but you can enjoy your hybrid retirement and do what you want to do with your time because that's the most important thing we plan for. The finances are going to be there no matter what. And we're going to have the financial plan work for you. What's most important to me is you get to do what you want to do with your time.
You know, this is almost like a form of self-care for your dad. And you mentioned this before we got started this weekend that we're going to talk a little bit about financial self-care. But like for your dad, he's living his best life right now. He's still working, so he gets to scratch that itch. But he's also getting to hang out with his friends, have a cocktail. This is his version of self-care, if you will. But Heidi, what do you mean when you say financial self-care?
Well, it is the buzzword nowadays. Everyone talks about self-care, and you got to have your red light mask and your grounding mat and your whatever, the supplements. If you've ever been on the internet, we all talk about self-care. And I actually did joke with my dad. I said, isn't it funny how you don't have to bring your red light mask there? And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But financial self-care is probably the form of self-care we all drop the ball on quite a bit, because you need to make sure every stage of your life, your finances are working with you and not against you. And if that means I'm working right now, you got to make sure you're saving enough for the future. And that's where your financial self-care comes in. So what I mean by financial self-care is that your plan is working for you. You work really, really, really hard for your money. You want to make sure that money is working for you as well. Mm-hmm. Let's not leave a bunch of money just sitting in cash making 0% interest. The day-to-day expenses should be sitting there, but all the rest of your money, we got to make sure it's working effectively towards your financial future. And if you don't know what bucket you should be saving in, or how to set things up for today and tomorrow, because we hope you're around for a long time, that's the point in time we're going to start building out a custom plan for you. And we do so complimentary, but we want to make sure you're saving for the best financial future you could possibly have, so that you just get to live it and, the money works for you. If you're looking for the purpose approach so that we can take a look at all of your finances, put that plan in place, make sure you're saving in the right buckets for the future in the most tax efficient manner, and meeting your risk tolerance every step of the way, because I am a broken record and I'll say it a million times. What you invest in needs to match your risk tolerance, how much you're willing to risk. We'd love to have a chat, and we're available at any point in time at 314-207-6211. Let's put that plan in place. Make sure that you're not skipping out on your financial self-care. Mm-hmm. And hey, if your actual self-care involves a trip to the med spa or the chiropractor or a new red light or a new face skincare routine, right, whatever that self-care involves for you. Or it could be like my dad. You need to go get by some water and have a drink or two with some friends. Let's make sure your financial plan is working towards that self-care plan too, because they all have to go hand in hand. We want to make sure you're reducing your stress. And we know that when you're looking at TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff, they talk about cortisol reduction, the stress hormone. Let's make sure your finances aren't adding to your stress, because there's no reason for that to be occurring when you might just be able to have a little bit of help and reduce the stress there.
My daughter, you mentioned that about, you look at social media. Caroline is 12 years old, and she is deep into the influencers when it comes to moisturizers and face creams and masks and all these dupes. I didn't even know what a dupe was a year ago. Now my house is filled with all these dupe lip glosses. I don't know what any of this means, but it is I'm not going to lie, this is the dad me coming out. It is kind of cute watching her at night putting her 15 different lotions on. I got a kick out of that.
Hey, when she's my age, she'll appreciate that, because I didn't have a skincare routine until I was 30-something, and my mom's mom, my Grammy, was like, honey, what night cream do you use? And I said, nothing, Grammy. Well, you need to be using one. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, Grammy. But it makes me laugh, Mark, because, my dad, one of the other things he does to feed his soul is he plays a part in a red suit every December.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a girl about Caroline's age who came up here and she asked for a skincare refrigerator. And the dad just looked at me and said, what is that? And I'm like, I'm 36 years old and I don't even know what that is. I had to Google it. Apparently, that's the latest and greatest thing, too. So, it's probably going to be on Caroline's Christmas list later this year.
Siri, what is a self-care refrigerator? I don't know what this is. Hey, look, but I can't argue. For me, my self-care is out on the golf course. That's what makes me happy. Well, it frustrates the hell out of me, but it also makes me happy. You mentioned it a couple of seconds ago, Heidi. Let's talk about the purpose approach. It's something you offer exclusively from the team at Ricken Financial.
It is. And that's the name of the plan that we put together for you. The approach that we take to your investing. At the end of the day, anyone can manage your finances. There are some people out there who might be able to stick your tax plan in there if you're doing a tax plan and not just tax preparation, because as we know, tax preparation happens every April from last year. Tax planning is where we forecast your taxes and make changes. But what we do here at Ricken Financial is we take the purpose approach. The first question we're going to ask you is, what are your goals, your wants, your dreams, and how do you want to spend your time today? And how do you want to spend your time tomorrow throughout your retirement? And then we are going to customize your entire financial plan surrounded around your purpose so that each step of the way you get to spend time with what brings you joy and feeds your soul. And we get to work as a team to build that financial plan so that the money is working for you and you just get to simply enjoy a purposeful life and a purposeful approach to your retirement. So if that sounds like something you're interested in and you want to take advantage of our complimentary plan, please give us a call at 314-207-6211 or head over to rickenfinancial.com, RICKEN financial.com, and say, hey, I want to take advantage of this because you don't know what you don't know, and it's only going to hurt a little bit of time for us to put some plans in place for you.
Heidi, a little caffeinated, maybe a little hyped up more than normal, and I think it's fair to say it's totally acceptable on your part because you haven't got much sleep over the past couple of days. What's going on with you?
Well, my husband was out of town for work, and I don't get much sleep during the week anyway, but I was peacefully in my REM sleep when a little before 5 a.m. in the middle of the week, my fire alarms go off. And on our house, all of the fire alarms are connected, and then it yells, fire, fire.
Oh.
And of course, I had gotten back from a weekend trip and I didn't have my glasses next to my nightstand, and I'm freaking blind without my contacts. Before 5 a.m., I shoot out of bed, running around. Long story short, there's no fire in my house, but it looks like there's probably some sort of electrical issue. And I called the non-emergency phone number. It took them a couple hours to come out. They came and checked on it. There's no fire in my house. They said, it's okay. There must be something going on with the electric. Just disconnect your fire alarm. So I did. I flipped the breaker, and it must be something other than that because with the battery backup, they went off again. And I just called my neighbors and told them not to call 911 today, but I was going to go to the office, and that's what I did. But, didn't get much sleep there because also the night before, my sister called and found a bat in her bedroom very late at night and needed to be talked off a ledge about that. So, we don't run on much sleep around here, but you never know what's going to happen. That's why, you got to have your emergency plan in place because I clearly did not have a good one in place when I didn't even have my glasses anywhere near me or shoes or anything. And I'm running around the house like a chicken with my head chopped off trying to figure out if there's a fire.
More importantly, where's the bat right now? Did they just adopt it as its own and now it has its own little cage and newspaper at the bottom of it? Where's the bat?
Oh, no. My dad was on the phone with her too and talked her into getting a towel out of the bathroom and wrapping it up in a towel because it was hanging on her bedroom door. And then she threw it out the front window, just towel and all. And the bat is long gone, but now she has the distinct privilege of joining the club that my husband started a year and a half ago. Of getting the rabies vaccine shots just in case, because we never know.
It's very exclusive club.
Rabies is very binary. It's either you're fine and you don't have it, or you get it and you die.
Right.
So it's worth getting those backup shots,
Hey, tell her this too, because you said she was already having to get talked off the ledge with a bat in the house. You said she threw it out in the yard. It's gone. But just since you're the sister and this is your job, tell her that bats have very good memories, and the bat is probably plotting its revenge with all of its little bat friends as well, and it will be back.
Oh, yeah. Well, that I'll tell you, Mark, that was the worst part for her. She said, if there's one, there's going to be more than one.
Yeah. And they're on their way back.
But Missouri, there are a lot of bats around here. And we actually heard from a couple friends that you're supposed to put a bat habitat in your backyard so that it has a space to go and it doesn't crawl into your house.
No, I don't want them ever. I don't want it anywhere.
You got to make them feel at home,
What are you going to do? Invite them to Sunday dinner? Come on in, bats. Make yourself comfortable.
They said less than 1% of bats in the state of Missouri carry rabies.
Yeah.
Now we know. The more you know, that's a good fun fact for trivia night.
Again, as a good sister, you need to tell her that was probably the 1% that was in the house, just to freak her out even more. It's your job.
How'd you know that was my response?
To antagonize your sister. That's what you do as siblings. As we're talking about the backup plans, what happens now? there's a bat in the house. Do I have a backup plan for? Well, that's not really something you can really prepare for, but there is a plan to go get a shot. Just make sure you stay healthy. For you, the plan of, all right, let's get this taken care of just in case. But it's all about the importance of having a backup plan for these just in case what if moments. What if the fire would have been real? Got to have a plan.
Yeah.
And I know for what you do and for what Jerry does as well at Ricken Financial, you're always putting plans together. And that includes, and we mentioned this a little bit earlier, the power of Social Security, because a lot of people right now, Heidi, are kind of leaning on that potential backup plan because of all these conversations about Social Security benefits dissolving over the next 8-10 years. I want you to hear this clip from Marilyn Jones. She's 87 years old. She's retired and she lives in Vegas.
Social Security became something that I relied on. I have a small savings account and I have a very small stock portfolio. I think that's too glamorous to call it a portfolio. Social Security has helped me a lot. Almost $1,800 of my Social Security goes for utilities. People my age look forward to the years when you can retire and you've paid into this fund that's supposed to take care of you in later years.
So let's talk about backup plans for Social Security and income in retirement.
You know, I get this question a lot, Mark, and unfortunately, Maryland's not alone. A majority of retirees stay above the poverty line because of the power of their Social Security income. So we are not blind to the fact that Social Security has an issue. It's underfunded, and with everything that's happening in our country, it hasn't been fixed yet. Now, do I have faith that our funding issue will be fixed and that Social Security benefits will be around? At the end of the day, I do have faith that we're going to fix the issue, because if you think about this, sweet old Marilyn and everyone else's grandma out there, we're going to take away their stream of income that keeps them above the poverty line. I think we would have civil war. And it is something that we as Americans pay into when you're working, and we have come to rely on it. So I think we're going to fix the issues. But that being said, yeah, do I think it's a smart idea to have a backup plan in case we don't have Social Security in our financial lives for the future? Of course I do, because I'm sitting here having this conversation with you at 36 years old, and my financial plan for my future does not involve Social Security income coming in for me, because I want to make sure I have that backup plan in place in case it's not around for me. I think it's probably going to be around for a lot of the clients that we're working with right now, but you might notice I've used one saying a lot, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
None of us know. Well, we don't have a crystal ball. We have no idea what's in our future. And it is a pretty wise idea to have a backup plan in place for income, because we know Social Security right now is guaranteed income coming in and hitting your paycheck once a month. And when you're retired, you're not working, you don't have a paycheck coming in. If that stream of income decreases or goes away, we probably do need to have a backup of how we're going to live, because we all deserve to live comfortably in retirement. Well, what can that look like? Marilyn's clip said that she has a stock portfolio. She said it doesn't seem like a portfolio, and that was a generous description. But maybe you have some money saved in the form of your IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, something that you saved through work or in an IRA. So yeah, you can turn on some income from that, because if you're born after 1960, once you hit age 75, you got to turn on that income anyway in the form of required minimum distribution. So, maybe it's adding from that stream of income from your IRAs. Maybe you have some money sitting around in your emergency funds or in a brokerage account, in a stock portfolio, a bond portfolio, exchange traded funds portfolio. Maybe you have, there could be all sorts of money you have sitting aside on the sidelines, but you can put it to work in a stream of income in a couple different ways. CDs seem to be the latest and greatest thing that they're popping up again, because they're no longer those certificates of disappointment that we had 10 years ago that were paying less than 1%.
Right.
So a lot of people will say, okay, well, we can have a CD and then we have the FDIC insurance and all that. Well, I'll get off my soapbox before I even get on it about CDs. But there are a bunch of other different ways that you can have a stream of income paying you in retirement as well. Another one is called an annuity. You can set up, if you need an extra stream of income, you can set up money to pay you in a form of an annuity. And then we have other options out there too. There's stuff called structured notes. You might be able to have, it's an investment with a bank, but not at a bank. And they might be able to pay you, I don't know, about double what's a CD is paying nowadays. But that involves a little bit of risk and being involved in the market as well. Every person we meet with is going to have a different answer for what their backup plan is if Social Security is gone, because nothing in our financial lives is one size fits all. So if you don't currently have a backup plan for your income in the event that your Social Security is decreased or gone, that's where we can step in and help you figure out what your backup plan should look like. And we'd love to do that for you. You know, you'd need to reach out so that we can put some time on the calendar and begin our plans. So if you could just give us a buzz at 314-207-6211 or head over to rickenfinancial.com, RICKEN. It'll begin the conversation because, you know, there is warranted fear out there. We're hearing about it all the time about Social Security. We'd love to help you put your backup plan in place in the event that your benefits are decreased or go away one day.
You know, we've said it many times here on Kickin' with the Rickens. Income is the outcome that matters the most in retirement. A lot of people are going to be relying on Social Security as a form of income in retirement. Again, it all begins with a phone call to 314-207-6211. Again, 314-207-6211. All right, Lotto Fever taking over. Did you play?
Oh, yeah.
You all in?
You know, I'm not. It's ridiculous. I always say like, oh, what if we win the lotto? And I always forget to play because I never carry cash around. Whoops.
But when you play, you don't say, if I win, here's what I'm going to do. You buy that ticket and you go, well, when I win, here's what I'm going to do. Oh, I know,
right?
It's not even like a perceived, like, oh, it would be nice. You already have your vacation house, your mountain house, your lake house. You've already got it scripted out how you're going to quit your job. Everything is already planned when you buy that ticket. The chances are not very good, but still, it's kind of fun, though, Heidi, to kind of play that fantasy for a little bit.
I'm not surprised to hear you say that, Mark, because we all know that you love to gamble, you know, hit the casinos every once in a while. So, of course.
I've yet to hit it big
in the
casinos, and I've yet to hit it big in the lottery. But by God, I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah.
Because when I win, not if, but when I win.
Well, it's funny you mention it, too, because I've gone to Wisconsin twice in the last month and a half or so, and they have the pull tabs there. And of course, I bought pull tabs, which you have probably an even worse percentage chance of winning at those than you do the lotto. And I think I've won like a total of $7 or something, and we've put like 80 or 90 bucks into it. Yep. So, but it made it fun. And of course, that led into the conversation we've all had too of, okay, when you win the lotto, what would you do?
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, I'm married to an engineer and he has the plan in place that if he wins one day, he already knows what law firm he's going to with the winning ticket before he claims it. And he's played out every scenario in his head of, you know, this particular, I don't know the name of it, some law firm in Chicago and blah, blah, blah. And he told me, he's funny. He told me he'd give me a certain dollar amount to help manage, and then the rest he would have managed elsewhere.
Oh, well, that's nice.
You know, yeah, isn't that really kind of him?
If only he knew a good wealth manager.
I know, right? And he has all these ideas of what he would do and everything, but he says, and I don't think it would be true, but he says, I'm still going to work and everything and pretend like nothing ever happened. I'm like,
oh, you are.
There's no way. There is no way.
I would do the right thing. I would give them a 2-week notice, but you wouldn't know I won the lottery, but there would be signs because I'd be showing up at work at about 10 o'clock with a bottle of Jack Daniels. But actually, the first thing I would do, if I won, the very first thing I do, I'd go to church because I'd drop to my knees and I'd say, all right, Lord, things are about to change. Please keep me humble and kind. Please keep me on the straight and narrow. Keep everybody safe. Let's go.
Love that. The first thing I would do is probably have a heart attack or an anxiety attack. I would be freaking out. I would not even enjoy it for a moment. I would be scared to death. Yeah. I don't know. Have you ever seen that TV show, The Lottery Ruined My Life? There are so many people that it does. We're not blind to the fact that a lot of Americans are struggling right now. I mean, prices are at an all-time high. It's a scary time to be alive. There's so much happening. Some people really are. A lot of people, we're in America, a lot of people are struggling paycheck to paycheck to make ends meet, to do all these things. Well, what if you go from that to all of a sudden you get a windfall? And unfortunately, a lot of the windfalls I see in my day-to-day life and in our industry come from death.
Yeah.
Someone you love is no longer with us, and you're going to get an inheritance from them, and it's going to change your life and, snap of a finger overnight. It's scarier than it is exciting when all of a sudden you get this windfall. And what do you do now? We have this conversation quite a bit because usually the people who get this windfall didn't have a financial advisor prior, and they need some advice. And, I had a client who recently lost her father, and we got the phone call, and she said, my dad lived like a pauper. I didn't think he had anything. And he passed away, and I'm going through all this paperwork, and one of the things he had handwritten note he had left behind was on his investment statement, and it said, this is the money for her. And she was like, I wish he would have just spent more money on himself and didn't live like he was impoverished, but he wanted to leave something behind to me that bad. And the conversation was, what do I do with this money? Because my dad worked so hard for it. I don't want anything to happen to it, and I want to make sure I keep it in good hands. Oh. And I thought that was really honorable to call and have that conversation. And if you find yourself in a situation like that and you don't even know where to begin, you're not alone. That's actually pretty common. That's one of the things I hear most often is, I don't even know where to begin with all of this. Well, you can begin with a phone call to 314-207-6211, and we're happy to have a little conversation with you and see what we can do to help. But every person that asks that question is going to have a different answer for where their plan's going to lead them. And at the end of the day, yes, it's very honorable that your parents left that behind to you, but they left it to you for a reason. And, if you do have the opportunity to save it for the rainy day and, let it grow for you, that's great. If you need to build your emergency funds because you didn't have any, which we've seen that too, then maybe we start that way. But every person is going to have a different answer for how that windfall is going to change their financial life. And it doesn't have to be so scary. You don't have to do it alone. Yeah. But that being said, whatever you do, make sure it's going to match your risk tolerance. Just because the amount of money changed overnight doesn't mean that the amount of risk we're comfortable taking changes. And I think I've seen that a lot. A lot of people, when they have more money coming in, they all of a sudden will say, well, I'm comfortable taking bigger risks. And then what if that goes down? They have a lot of trepidation on that downswing, and they wish they wouldn't have changed their investment portfolio just because the money changed, because at the end of the day, their risk tolerance didn't change.
So you know what? I don't want to win $1 billion, Heidi. I'd be good with about $5 million. All right, I'd be okay with that. But the reality is there is an opportunity that you could be getting an inheritance. You could be getting something, from the family passed down to you. That's a reality. And if you know that's coming, get ahead of it as well. 314-207-6211. Was it you telling me, Heidi, that when people come into a large lump sum of money in their adult life, that a lot of people blow through it? What is it, like 18 months or something like that?
Mm-hmm. And I would say it's over 70% of people blow through it within 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why there is an actual show that exists that called The Lottery Ruined My Life, because so many people had no plan in place and had no idea how to handle the money, and they let the money handle them instead of them handling it.
And what happens when you come into these large lump sums of money is that, everybody wants a piece of it. You're finding friends and family, and everybody thinks you're going to pay for dinner. And, if you could just help me pay for this one bill. Now you've got another 300 cousins that you never knew about. Like they say with these the huge lottery winnings, they say you need to get off the grid, change your number, delete all of your social media accounts. Like it's almost like winning $1 billion is the worst thing that could ever happen. However, on the flip side, though, receiving an inheritance could be the best thing that could ever happen to you as well, Heidi.
It can. And if you want to make sure that you leave a legacy behind so that your beneficiaries can receive an inheritance, there are lots of different ways that you can make that happen. If you have the ability of time right now, which means you pick up the phone and call me and start the clock, It just takes a little bit of time to put a plan in place so that you can follow the plan so that in the future, your legacy gets to be left behind in the hands of who you want it to be there. But if you don't put your plan in place, you don't want everything you worked for your entire life to have to go through probate and have people fighting over who wants what, because you just mentioned it. Unfortunately, death brings out the worst in a lot of people, and they will fight for money. So you need to make sure you have your beneficiaries properly reviewed and cross the T's, dot the I's. Each of your accounts has those put in place. If you need a trust or a will, have that in place and funded properly. But sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know who's on first.
Yeah.
Where do I start with any of that? And it can start with a phone call to us to 314-207-6211, and we can help guide you in the realm that you should be looking into to make sure that your estate plan is in place, that you do get to leave behind the legacy you'd love to leave behind. So, if you need help with any of that, we'd be happy to help you. And again, our number is 314-207-6211 or rickenfinancial.com, RICKEN financial.com. Head on over there and say, I want to make sure I leave a beautiful legacy behind, because there are economical ways to do it. We'd be happy to guide you in the right direction so that the money that you worked so hard for can do exactly what you want it to do. And it's not left in the hands of some court system or because there's also costs involved with that too. And if you just take a little bit of time to put the plan in place, everything can work out in the end. And I'll tell you, we also hear from quite a few people that say, I don't want to do that because if I do my estate plan, I'm going to die tomorrow. Well, if you don't do your estate plan, you still might die tomorrow. You need to make sure you're protected. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So put a little plan in place, and then we can be prepared for the unknowns.
Heidi, I'm a bit of a liar too, because I said the first thing I do if I win like a major lump sum of money, I'm going to church. That's true. Actually, the second thing I'm going to do is build your sister a bat sanctuary for her backyard.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.